Привет, дорогие друзья! Вы на канале Джордж и Джек Твиток. С вами, как всегда, я, Джейк. Мы с вами продолжаем прохождение Stories of Patch of Destenies. Сейчас мы будем опять собирать все с неборез, идти на пост, и если мы не выбирали, типа, идти к... Ну, вообще идти к нашим вот этим главным, то, наверное, в горы. Если мы были у главных, нам теперь уже пора в горы. Если нет, то к главным. Я потому что плохо помню уже, какая была серия до этого.
These things could really use a hand. The people who had built this castle, did they even know what monstrous weapon lay hidden within their walls? The Sky Ripper could destroy anything it touched, or so the legend said. As the Transcendent Emperor had fought the Lost Gods, thousands of thousands had died. But Renato had been through wars. The only merciful war was a short one. Renato had learned so much.
Там лестница
It was
есть
time
вниз.
to turn it into something he could use.
Прикиньте, я вообще только сейчас эту модельку увидел, что там есть лестница вниз. Жалко, на эту лестницу нельзя попасть, похоже. Или вообще там что-то есть такое, типа, как правильно сказать-то... Я ж на тебя навел, почему блок не пошел? Что за хреня? Честно говоря, реально, я же поставил там на блок, почему он не пошел? Я же на него повернул специально, чтобы блокировать. Что бы выбрать? Хорошо, просто что бы выбрать? Вот это будет еще. Да блин. Почему я всегда забываю, что здесь нельзя на X нажать, чтобы назад пойти?
There it was.
Вот он как.
Sky Ripper's armature. The stuff that dreams are made of. Engineers' dreams. How is it part of a weapon at all? He'd have to ask a scientist. But first, he'd get the second piece. Sky Ripper had a heart. A core that had come to rest on the next island. Well, there was another island he could reach. Zenobia had just invaded it with her father's Raven battalions. She must be encamped there still. But fighting Zenobia now, that made no sense at all. He'd already sacrificed one friend to get this armature, was it? He didn't need to hurry to face her. She would find him. It was a no-brainer. He'd sacrifice... He looked up at the old trees around him. They were so big and so old. They'd been there before he was born, and they'd be there after he'd passed into legend. Was he confronting his own unimportance? What had got into him? He was no philosopher. Anyway, who cares? He was plenty important. He was a hero, and soon he'd prove it. There was something sour in the air. Like the earth had ruptured over something that had been fermenting for a very long time. There were fewer and fewer trees. There were only these huge crystalline growths. Had those been here before? He no longer heard birds except for the feverish cawing of the ravens when they attacked. He couldn't smell the small animals of the forest, the mice and rabbits. Where had they gone? And he was getting hungry too. This was an unhealthy place to be. The 20-sided core made him feel physically sick. Once he had sneaked into a temple of the dark arts, and he hadn't liked what he carried his prize back to the Farfarer. Now, he had to make his next move. There was a key Imperial outpost on the Nexus. If this really was some sort of super weapon, he could use it to wreak havoc on the enemy. And if it wasn't, well, better to know that before the final battle. But maybe he should show it to some scientists first. There was an observatory on the Nexus. Maybe he should go there before he fired it. Renato had never been...
Да, короче, я уже тут был, когда мы выбирали повстанцев. Да, я вспомнил, что там была концовка. В общем, концовка была в том, что Зенобия типа заморозила себя и не порез, а Леонардо все равно сгорел. Вроде так. Но Зенобия себя заморозила, как и большинство всего. А Ренальдо потом там оказался в выжженной пустыне, можно так сказать. Вот в чем была концовка, когда я выбрал непорез и пошел к своим, типа, главарям. Да, вот он о чем. Так, значит, сейчас надо идти в горы. Оттуда смотреть, что будет. Оттуда уже будет Иблис. Иблис тоже аванпост, горы. И, наверное, возможно, будет еще после Иблиса 2 серии. Одна из них это точно будет концовка. Другая же будет какой-то тоже такой вот выбор, как бы, потому что там тоже сейчас будет неизвестно, что там будет вообще. Будет там тоже выборы. Ну, короче, будем смотреть через это все. Может, даже не 2 видео останется, а еще несколько.
He was tired of slaughtering ravens.
И мы узнаем, что это как там будет, короче. Но не будем гадать. Сейчас все это будем проходить и
Renato had never
узнаем.
met a weapon without a trigger or a handle. How did this thing work?
Может, даже 4 или больше будет видео.
The Sky Ripper was making a whining noise now, and its wheels were spinning so fast he could no longer see them.
Renato had a thought.
Yeah, sure it will, cracked Renato. Pull the other one.
If you don't trust me, go see Calaveras. He'll tell you the same thing.
Oh, she would say that. That sounded sensible. Why did she always have to sound sensible all the time? Oh, it was infuriating.
Of course she would say that. He was supposed to hurry and bring the Sky Ripper to the council so the rebels could actually win the
Так,
war.
значит, надо сейчас в
She
горы.
was right.
Damn it.
Сюда.
Zenobia was so frustrating. If she couldn't get you with magic, she'd get you with reason and caution and sensible arguments. Of course, Calaveras, he might not know the latest scientific theories with evidence and all, but Renato preferred the knowledge in the old books anyway. What they said felt true, and that's what's important. You should be careful, though. She'd probably guess he'd come here. That meant she'd probably set an ambush for him.
Renato landed on the island, expecting Zenobia's ambush at any moment.
On the other hand, there did seem to be a lot of ravens around here. Were they just lost patrols stirring up trouble? Were they looking for him? If she was going to ambush him, wouldn't she keep the road clear so he wouldn't be on his guard? Or, unless they were part of the ambush, the obvious ravens he was meant to see to take his mind off the ones he wouldn't see. God, after all these years, she still drove him crazy.
Простите, я сейчас на пару секунд выйду. А я вернулся. Только, конечно, головы не успели глянуть, как называется, к сожалению. Блин, да. Стресс-то. Там же вообще даже ничего не ударился.
Zenobia's ambush never materialized. Could she be sincere? Calaveras was a great scholar. Renato doubted even Zenobia could convince him to say something he didn't believe. And if he was working for the Empire, he'd never have told Renato about the Sky Ripper in the first place. Well, he would listen to the wise old toad. But that didn't mean he had to agree.
It was like having a pet. Well, like having a goblin for a pet. why. Why did he listen to Zenobia? She was the enemy. Of course she didn't want him to use his shiny new weapon. The thing was, though, she was appallingly honest. I mean, she wouldn't lie even to an enemy. At least she'd never lied to him. So if she said he had to see Calaveras, it probably was a good idea to see him. Ugh, it was infuriating.
Calaveras examined the Sky Ripper eagerly.
What? How often does a new relic surface?
He brushed off Zenobia's warning.
Oh, what do sorceresses know about physics?
However, he did know a few ways to make the weapon even more precise and more powerful, and quickly went off to tinker. Soon the Sky Ripper no longer whined, but thrummed like a hummingbird taking off. It was ready for war.
And so, Bernardo thanked Calaveras and took the legendary weapon to the final battle. But where were the other rebel ships? Had something happened?
He could defeat the Imperial fleet with the Sky Ripper, but he couldn't govern. He was not cut out to be Emperor, and he'd no desire to be one. There were a few rebel ships here and there, but there was no organization to the battle. Where was the Council flagship? Something had gone terribly wrong.
But he had the Sky Ripper, and the Ravens had nowhere they could hide. Renato had a feeling that was the back door to something. But what?
The Council speaker was on the deck, bleeding. Why was she even here? They found our base, she croaked. The Council, all dead. We must surrender. No, we could still win this, said Renato. I have the Sky Ripper. He would be a real hero and save the day, even when all appeared to be lost. You're a good boy, said the speaker. And then she died.
Не знаю, как вам, но мне показалось, как будто... Конечно, понимаю, что она имеет в виду, что Ренальдо, ну, пытается помочь всем, и поэтому она дала хороших парней. Но все же так звучало, как будто ты собаку так называешь. Когда вот это хочешь сказать, кто хороший мальчик? Кто хороший мальчик? Ты. Вот почему-то именно так чувствуется. Ну, оно и понятно, почему мне так чувствуется, потому что все же лисы считают, ну, некоторые подвид лис считаются все же семейством собачьих. То есть, можно сказать, родня с собакой. Но это не означает, что ты можешь взять и с тобой погладить просто. Но это не означает, что ты можешь взять и погладить. Не думаю, что тебя они типа не укусят или что-то сделают. Потому что все же лисы это дикие животные, конечно, есть. Кажется, один или несколько видов, которым можно у себя дома посетить. Но только если у тебя регион очень теплый, потому что, ну, зимой вроде или нет. Я плохо помню, каких именно куда можно, но вот диких типа с лесу взять нельзя, потому что все же оно и понятно, все же у них инстинкты с рождения как бы уже, а не дрессировать их. Как пытаться взять к себе волка. Попытаться можешь, если, конечно, не боишься. Когда-нибудь у тебя просто рука цепь и все. Ладно, давайте вот это не будем говорить сейчас просто. Что тут встать, чтобы меня видели прям.
He fired at the Sky Ripper. With a tremendous whoosh, the Emperor's flagship went up in flames. And for good measure, he played the beam around it, setting all the other nearby Imperial ships on fire too. And he watched them burn. See? He could use the Sky Ripper safely. The few remaining rebels gave a cheer. And then they stopped cheering. There was a hole in the air. A blackness, like a tear in a parchment. Wind was blowing into it, widening it. It grew larger. Crates were falling off ship decks, upwards into the hole. And the world itself seemed bent, like the reflection on a curved mirror as it poured into the ravenous hole. He guessed that somewhere behind that ever-widening hole were gods that had long been exiled. But it didn't really matter. Time was done for here, and soon it was. Oh, again? But he already had all the secrets he needed. He was sure of that. He must have not used them the right way. What was the best, worst mistake he could make? Probably trusting that traitor Lapino.
Значит, гипергерой. Что это за герой? Герой, который принимает все необходимое для спасения ситуации. Это уже все. Вот на этом у нас заканчивается вообще весь неборез. Получается. Вот все. И остается только последний от Иблиса. И все. И мы можем уже начинать вот история истины, вот история истины открыть уже. Значит, в следующей серии заканчиваем Иблис, и потом уже вот этот все. И я на этом с вами прощаюсь, дорогие друзья. Надеюсь, все понравилось. Вы подписались, нажали колокольчик, поставили лайк, написали комментарий. Поддерживайте канал, если те, что я перечислил. Но нормально проводите время, уже осень. Уже второй месяц осени. И надеюсь, у вас все хорошо. Ну а я с вами прощаюсь. Всем удачи и пока.